Just a little update. My plant is growing. We had a wee bit of a scare because, of course, I left for New Orleans and my dad promised to take care of the plant, and he did. He did. There were a lot of other little sprouts, but in his defense, I did not bury them deep enough, so they were kind of weak, and some of them died off. But this little guy is making it. And so we are just gonna realign with some self-love, kind of with a spell tonight, and recharge the crystals. That way we do positive intentions and stuff so we can continue to help this plant grow, and it's associated with me and kind of my well-being and making sure I'm taking care of myself as well. And tonight I'm feeling a little bit low for some reason, so we are just gonna do some self-care for the plant, and as well as for myself, maybe get some new herbs going, recharge these crystals, and hope that helps. So also, there's just been some blah energy around here lately, and I'm sure it has everything to do with the eclipse stuff, but I'm telling you, it's just this really weird energy right now, and I think there's something that's kind of attached itself to the house as well, or at least trying to, because we've just had some weird experiences lately, and like things where I swear I left something one place and then it's showing up somewhere else. Like, I've never really experienced that before with spirit, and like it happened a couple times in my parents' house, like with the weirdest items too, like a phone charger and a toilet plunger. Like, those items just disappeared. Or in the toilet plunger, as far as I'm concerned, never came back. And then the phone charger was eventually found. But, like, for instance, I had a towel that's never had any problems staying on the towel rack, and then came home earlier and it was on the floor. So I feel like something knocked it off. I mean, it's never had problems before. And then just like weird things, like thought I just had the paper towels in there, and then I walked in and it was sitting right there. I don't remember putting it there because I would have brought it from there to over here where I'm cleaning. So pardon my disheveled look. And then, so I've been like tuning in a lot more recently. And also I have to take some of this with a grain of salt because it is Shark Week for me, and so I do become a lot more like forgetful and also just kind of clumsy and stuff. So that could be playing into it as well. But also, like, my dog, my poor dog, while she's been eating, like, lately, she'll all of a sudden, like, jump and, like, scatter the plate. The food will go flying as if somebody, like, grabbed her or something. Like, somebody had, like, touched her. And obviously it's not me. It's just me in the house. And so that's been happening a lot lately, too. And then, so the other day, and I'm not trying to be like that witchy person that, you know, says trickster spirits are everywhere, because everything that I've heard from every other, like, witch practitioner is that that's kind of an uncommon experience. So it may not have been a trickster spirit, but it definitely was something that was masquerading as my spirit guide. And I feel like I literally just saw a light over here. That's been happening a lot too. So I've been, like I said, I've been trying to tune in more. Like, just trying to sense my higher guides and stuff. But as a lot of you know, once you start working with magic and start working with hearing spirit and trying to really tune into them, it's kind of a beacon of light for everybody. So although you can do some protections, it's not going to do, like, there's no 100% guarantee that it's going to work. And honestly, I'm long past due recharging my crystals, re-locking my windows, and like kind of protecting the house. And I did do a smoke cleanse the other day, but afterwards I left the windows open for a couple hours while I did my second half of my job, came back and did the second half, and then kind of left the room stagnant, which I don't usually like to do. I don't necessarily know for sure that you have to like I've been told before that you need to bring in some good energy, like music, or, you know, just focusing your energy to fill up the room with like good intentions, and so that it's not just stagnant. And I didn't do that this time. Usually I do a whole like singing bowl thing where I walk around the house ringing bells and doing singing bowls and playing really happy, usually jazz music. But I didn't do that this time. So I think something's still kind of stuck around. And I also wonder if it's just following me from work, because ever since Mercury retrograde started up, it's been kicking my ass this go around. And obviously it's because of like the eclipse energy on top of it all, but oh my god, guys, like I've gone literally like weeks and weeks where no traffic, no accidents, no nothing really on my drives. The last couple days since it started, accidents everywhere. Like, to the point where I almost feel agitated driving because I'm afraid that something's going to happen. And that's just paranoia. I can't even talk right now. I look like a disaster. I can't talk. Like, we're kind of having a night, and I don't even know why. But, well, I know why, but it's just me being over-emotional about crap. So I'm talking to you guys instead, because that'll make your guys' night so great. But yeah, just accidents everywhere, traffic jams everywhere, people are acting like they don't know how to drive for shit. Like, and then I had another cat incident. Like, I don't know what it is about this place that, like, stray cats just, like, come wandering up to my house. Like, I've never seen this cat before. Never seen this cat. Get home from work and he's literally he's sitting in my yard. He, like, eyeballs me, and at first he looks like he's kind of gonna run away. But then as I like, go outside, I'm like, okay, there's something up with this cat too. Like, I sensed it. I'm like, okay, sweetie, you're okay, you're alright. And like, I was talking to it for a while, and then he followed me up the porch. Like, I guess he decided that, you know, I wasn't a threat, and so he followed me up on the porch. And then I realized that behind his left ear, it's literally all the fur is gone, and there's this huge gash, like, big old gash, like, behind his ear. And most of it's like kind of dried blood and stuff. And so if this is gory and it upsets you, you can just like skip ahead a little bit. But I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? I'm not a veterinary clinic, okay? Like, I feel like I'm running a vet clinic because all these cats just show up at my doorstep needing medical attention, and I'm like, I haven't been trained for this, but gosh damn it if I'm gonna let him just wander the street and let that thing get infected and gross and God knows what. Like, my heart can't take that. And so I'm like, alright, well, let's see what we can do for you, kitty, because I can't just... So I kind of coaxed him into the house. Like, he didn't really seem like he exactly wanted to go, but he was hungry. So I coaxed him with some food and then slowly kind of shut the door behind us. And he wasn't totally thrilled about the idea, but he allowed it because I think he knew that I was trying to help him. And I mean, honestly, right now, guys, the best I had was soap and water. Like, that is literally the best I had. And so I even went over to the neighbor over here because she's got like a whole cat playpen thing set up for all the random strays that come over as well. And so I asked her, I was like, is there anything that we can do? And I tell you what, guys, I don't understand the mentality around here. Maybe it's just because, like, I really care deeply for like animals and stuff, and it really like bothers me when I see a hurt animal. Like it gets me very upset. And I've been trying to I'm still traumatized from the pregnant cat thing. And so I was like, are you kidding? Are you universe really? Like I understand that you know that I'm going to help whatever animal shows up at my door, but emotionally it's really hard. And so I'm like, great, here comes another kitty that, really needs help. I mean, he was acting totally normal, totally fine, very affectionate, but then he kept scratching at it too. And I was like, stop, that's going to hurt, like really bad. And then he, of course, was upset about it. I'm like, well, yeah, no shit, dude. You're taking those sharpie little claws and like scratching at your wound. So, anywho, I'm assuming he's fine. I literally just, at some point, I was like, I was gonna run to the store and like, because my neighbor next door was pretty much like, well, you can just put some Neosporin on it, and that's pretty much what I do when they get in fights, because I guess there's a lot of male cats around here, and they fight. And I'm like, cool, so you hear cats fighting outside, and you don't think maybe to go step outside and be like, hey, break it up? And I don't understand these people here. I really don't understand them at all. They just let their animals run wild with free for all and expect everybody else to feed them and take care of them. And I mean, cats are hardy animals, obviously. If it was a dog, it would have been dead by now. And I say that with as much compassion in the world because I love dogs as well. I love all animals. But obviously cats are a lot sturdier and hardier than, your pet dog. So, but it's just, ugh. And then the douchebag neighbor right across the street from me stopped me the other morning and was like, do you have a cat? I'm like, no, actually I don't. I'm super allergic to cats. I take care of a couple of the strays that are around here. I give them food and stuff. And he's like, yeah, well, I just want to let you know that the little black and white one the other day almost, got attacked by my dog. And I was like, what? I'm sorry, sir. What the fuck do you expect me to do? It is a wild cat. And I explained to him that the cat belonged to the neighbor that lived here before, and that it was not my cat. Not that I have any problems with taking care of him whenever he comes around. I don't mind that at all. I mean, he's been in my apartment a few times. Like, we have a whole little routine where he comes up, he gets a little bit of cream cheese because he's really into that. And he has such vibes of my past family cat, Mickey. He has such vibes like Mickey. And so I'm like, okay, fine. I'll let you in my apartment even though it's probably really not a good idea. I keep my other pets away from him just because I don't know how he'd react with them. Honestly, he'd probably try to eat the ferret. He would probably not be happy with Autumn. And I just don't know what medical things he's got going on. So I'm like, I don't want... Sorry, dude. You can be in here for a short amount of time, but you've got to stay away from my other animals because they come first and foremost, But I'm like, seriously, I feel like I need to have join some kind of veterinarian website or blog or YouTube channel because I get them like right along here. Like I can't wait to move out of this place like already. But anywho, this is ending up being a lot longer than I intended to share, but plain and simple, Mercury retrograde right now is kicking my living ass. And I definitely feel like I've got some kind of something that's trying to stick around. Because then, oh yeah, I didn't even finish the story. So the other day, something was parading around as my spirit guide. And because I kept seeing the number 42 everywhere, and I was like, that's so interesting because, he always shows me his number at least at some point during the day. Like, and it's just like this connection that we have. It's just like whenever I see him, I'm like, oh hey, how are you doing or whatever. But this was like frantic energy, and so I was like, well, that's odd because he doesn't usually present himself like that to me. Like sometimes there's like a gentle nudge of maybe you should check in with Kira, you know, maybe you should see how she's doing or whatever. And so I kind of went through everybody in my mind thinking, is it this person? Is it this person? And I didn't really get any hits. And so then I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just try and talk to him with the pendulum when I get home, because that'll clear things up, right? And so I got home after dropping off the kids. Still feels weird to say dropping off the kids because they're not my kids. But so I get the pendulum out, and the tarot deck this time, and I'm like, all right, well, let's try to just figure out what's going on. And then I started getting like the not so great cards in the deck, like Ten of Swords, like reversed, and like a bunch of other, the High Priestess reversed, and this being was saying it was in regards to me, and then there was like the Nine of Swords as well, or the Eight of Swords, one of those two. And then, so then I was asking questions, and it was trying to tell me that I needed to call into work because I was going to have one of my migraine episodes, which I can't even explain like how scary those are to me. Like, they're probably my biggest fear in life is getting one of those, especially at work, because I've already had a couple fairly recently, like back to back. And I know it's stupid because it's something that I can't exactly control. I mean, it's brought on by stress, but let's face it, life is stressful sometimes. And it is considered a disability because the symptoms are stroke-like in nature. And so I pretty much have to go home. I was reading about it the other day, and originally I thought it was a whole 3% that had it. No, it's like a 0.01% of the population that have my specific type. And so they're very misunderstood, like, people just, especially employers, like, they don't understand, like, how serious my condition is. And so this being was trying to scare me into saying that I needed to call in because I was going to have another one and all this kind of stuff. And it was just like this, of course I was panicking at that point because I was like, I literally have 5 minutes before I have to go into work. Like, I can't just all of a sudden call in 5 minutes and be like, I can't come in, you know, like, oh, I'm sorry, my spirit guide told me that, you know, I was going to get sick today, so sorry, I can't come in. That's not really how the world works, regardless of if you're witchy or not. So I'm like, I can't just call in. I can't. I'm like, I guess if we go and something happens, we'll deal with it then. But then all of a sudden, like, something clicked, and it was probably my actual spirit guide who was like, whoa, 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 come on, think about this for a second. Think about this. Because then I remembered, so I had asked him last time, right before we went on our vacation, I was like, hey, am I going to be safe from my episodes for a while? And he told me yes. And so I was like, oh, okay, good. And then I had one right before we went on vacation, like a couple days before. And so then I checked back with him and I was like, why did you tell me that? And so then I was thinking about it and I was like, he didn't want me to worry about it. And so I asked him that. I'm like, did you just not want me to worry about it and overthink about it? And he told me yes. So it's a vast different energy. And his energy is always very loving, very compassionate, like very brotherly in nature, kind of. And like, I only feel like overjoyed when I interact with his spirit directly. And so then, yeah, I was like, you know what? No, this isn't right. This isn't him. Like, he went out of his way to not tell me when I was going to have an episode because he didn't want me to worry about it. And then this guy, or whatever this thing is like trying to get me riled up and act like scared and paranoid. And I was for a minute. And then I was like, you know what? This just doesn't feel right. And I mean, I've gotten to the point where I've been able to, my episodes do come on very suddenly, but there are subtle hints that kind of tell me that it's a possibility that it's going to come on. So I've started to kind of tune in and really listen to my body, and so I kind of have an idea, and I just wasn't feeling that the other day. So I was like, I don't feel that way. I mean, I know sometimes I try to trick my brain into thinking I don't, just because I don't want to admit to the fact that it's probably gonna happen. But I always in the back of my mind can kind of backtrack and be like, yep, the same kind of brief symptoms happened like right before. And I'm like, yep, it was coming. I knew it was coming. But I think this, whatever it is, knows that that's a huge fear in my life. Like, I have major anxiety about it, like, a lot. And at one point, not to get doom and gloom or anything, but it was pretty serious. It was really impacting my mental health. And so, and that was like 6 years ago. But yeah, and so whatever this was, like, knew that and was trying to prey on that. So I was like, okay, not great. So I've been smoke cleansing and stuff. I'm realizing now, and obviously I've stated before, I am not like the most expert at really anything. I just make YouTube videos because I want to be part of a community. I want to share my experiences as I experience them. So yeah, spirit realm is still, and I don't think anyone becomes super good at spirit realm. There's always things that you don't want to be scared of it. Like, because if you're scared of it, you're not going to have, like, you're going to block yourself from it. Which, if you don't want to experience spirit, that's great. That's what people do a lot of the time. They're just like, I don't want anything to do with it. I'm just going to pretend it doesn't exist. And it doesn't exist for them, which is great. I love interacting with my higher up spirit guides and my angels and, all that really good energy. And I don't mind interacting with human spirits that were decent human beings, like, but sometimes, like I said, you can't always filter out everything. And so sometimes, especially if you even let your guard down a little bit, I feel like sometimes, not always, but sometimes things will take advantage. So it's not to be scared of them. In fact, being scared of them only gives them more power. But just to be able to identify, like, this isn't right. This is something that does not have my best interest at heart. And just be like, get the fuck out. Like, you're not going to ruin my day and ruin my energy field and mess with my animals and... like, no. Like, I have control of the situation. Get out. Just identifying it and being able to handle it and know what to do, And I feel like you can read about it all day long. Like, I can't even tell you how many spirit books I have on my bookshelf. Like, some of them I haven't even read yet, but a lot of them I have. And it's like, you can read all day long, but until you start, like, practicing it and experiencing it, and then you're like, oh, these are the mistakes I'm making, and you can't even really call them mistakes, per se. They're just learning curves, like, and, I mean, it's not that I just started, working with spirit or whatever, but it's... like, I've definitely been focusing on it more recently, like, really trying to engage and open up my clairsenses and really just kind of dial down on how I experience spirit, because everyone experiences it a little bit differently. And I'm just like, maybe picking Mercury retrograde in Aries as well as a solar eclipse, probably not the best starting point. Just for future reference, probably not the best idea. Noted for myself in the future. Like, if there's a major planetary thing happening, it riles up the spirits. I'm telling you, they feel it too. And they just get antsy. Like, I'm telling you, I'm seeing way more stuff, like, out of the corner of my eye, like, at work, and even, like, here a little bit as well. And like I said, I don't mind if they're good spirits, or at least have decent intentions. Like, they don't intend on harming us in any way. I don't care if they kind of float and flitter through here, whatever. But if you're wanting to cause malicious harm in any way, no thank you. I don't have the energy for it right now. I really don't. And it doesn't help. I'm not gonna lie. when you're emotionally kind of all over, that attracts them in too, because we've been having this problem for a little bit when I moved in with my parents. I think I already shared that story. And then here, like, I feel like I'm aware of it, so obviously I'm like, no, you're not allowed to attach yourself to me or my energy field, or you're not allowed to be here, like, but when you are so up and down in your emotions, when you go through hard stuff, it makes it easier for them to come back, you know? So just clearing your energy and just repeatedly kind of being on top of that if you are feeling a little bit down. Because I've noticed a lot more, my higher powers at will are definitely here too. Like, they have not at all left me by any scope of the imagination. So I feel them much more often than I feel anything negative, but the last little bit, there's definitely something here that is just not the friendliest. But I know what it's up to now, so I'm like, nope, we're just going to ignore you moving forward. Wouldn't even be talking about it, except the fact that I feel like it's important to share so that, you know, like, that's why I love YouTube, is because you can just share everything with each other and you can learn from someone else's experience. And so, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't, like I said, I love reading. That's where I get majority of any kind of information I get. I obviously binge watch a lot of other YouTubers who have been doing this way longer than me. But also you gotta have your own experiences. And I enjoy sharing them as they come along. I'm telling you right now. And funny enough, so I feel like I've been starting to, like, hear my higher up spirits, because, for instance, I can sometimes become a very forgetful person. And I'm like, where the heck did my phone go? Where did my phone go? Where did I put it? And so this morning I was literally like, okay, where's my phone? And I literally heard in my head, in the kitchen. And I was like, okay, sure enough, I walk in, it's right on the counter. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. And then I did it again because I thought I had left my purse in the car. And I was like, got there and I was like, where's my purse? So then all of a sudden I heard, by the front door, where you left it. I was like, oh my gosh. So sure enough, I go up, walk in, there it is on the floor, like in the corner. I'm like, thank you. So, like, that is so sweet though, like when that happens, like you're just like, yes, I can tune in. I can do it. It's just, I feel like my brain is so scattered all the time anymore. Like, it's just so scattered. And I know that's an excuse. Like, I just need to center myself and, like, I've been trying to do better the last couple days, going back to doing meditation and stuff, because I know meditation isn't for everybody, and I'm not going to sit here and say that you absolutely have to do meditation. Like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But it does help. It does help when your mind is just, like, firing at all cylinders. If you can just sit down for just a couple minutes, 5 at the most, 5, 10. I like to do 10. But trust me when I say that whole 10 minutes is not mindful meditation. The first 5 minutes of it is probably like, oh, this is what you need to do today, and this is what you need to do today. And, ooh, I could have done this differently in high school, and yeah, it's not like helpful information. Maybe the last 5 minutes is actually like finally being able to get my mind to somewhat come to a restful state. So it's no pressure, like, don't put pressure on yourself, because when you put pressure on yourself, you put too many expectations, and then it just doesn't go how you want it to go. Sometimes the best things in life come as surprises when we just go with the flow, which is really saying something considering my Virgo ways, where And it was funny because I had done a previous tarot card. Okay, this is just going to end up being a video of me talking about like different experiences lately. And it's not a video I intended to make at all. But we're going with the flow. So did a really great clear tarot read the other day. And that one was really great. I could tell it was my higher self. And like I already explained with the penny thing. But that one was very clear. That one told me exactly what I need to be focusing on right now. And so they pretty much told me, my spirit guides pretty much told me I was being a control freak. That's literally like the words that came into my head was control freak. And I know that they meant it in a loving way. But I also have to, like, I also feel like my spirit guides have a personality. And so they know that I won't take that like in a bad way. But I'm like, I know. And I've been doing that a lot lately. And they've been constantly trying to remind me that I need to stop forcing things. And originally I thought I wanted to go back to school again for like psychology. Not really sure I want to do that, or at least not school psychology. I thought I did, but honestly, when you're an empath, you already feel so drained in your life that having another job, and maybe some other empaths can do it, and that's their calling, and that is great. But when you're already around so many people all the time, and you're already feeding off of their energy, it's just to have a job that's that emotionally draining. I mean, the worst thing for me is seeing animals and kids in pain. You know, like that's the worst thing. And in my heart, yeah, I desperately want to help them, but I'm going to burn out so fast. I just know myself. I'm going to burn out so fast because I'm going to take all that crud and crap, and I haven't learned to let it go yet. I haven't learned how to be like lifted up to the higher good, I guess, and just forget about it. And I can't do it. Like I hold on to stuff. I just hold on to crap, and you can't do that in that kind of occupation. You won't make it, you know? And so I'm like, there's something I'm meant to be doing, and I'm just not sure I've found it yet. I don't know. I'm sure there's lots of other people out there that feel the same way, but just know that, like, there's a plan. Like, I keep being told there's a plan. Just be patient. Patient and control freak. Those are the things I've been being told. And so I'm like, all right. And I have found the last couple days that since I've kind of let go of some of this just pressure of trying to figure out what I'm doing for a job, what I'm doing for money, what I'm doing for all this stuff, blah, 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 I have felt happier. Like, I've actually laughed more in the last couple days, even at work and stuff, than I have in, like, weeks. So, I know, which is contradictory to what I said kind of at the beginning of the video, that I was kind of having a down day. But more of a down moment. Like, I was just kind of having a down moment. And part of it is because I keep watching these darn shows that are, like, romantic, and like I'm watching Outlander right now, and I know I'm like way behind to the party. Like, they're on season 7, I'm on like season 3, but I'm telling you, these darn writers who write these men characters that just like live up to all the expectations of what a woman would want, and then you just look at reality and you're like, that's so not true. But you just, like, desire somebody that's like that. And obviously, anyone who's seen Outlander knows Jamie's not a perfect man by any scope of the imagination. He's not, but he's perfect in the right ways, you know? And he's still very honorable, and he still cares and puts effort into a relationship versus pretty much most of reality of men who nowadays just put 2% and expect their woman to appreciate that. And obviously I'm talking bitterly, and I can't speak for the whole man of human race, but I can just tell you, like, we're getting to the healing point where we can laugh and joke about things sarcastically, because when you're sad and wounded about the world, you just joke about it because it makes it better. But I don't know. men like that just don't exist. They just don't. At least none that I have come across. But anywho. And then like today, so I had a good experience with a client because I also was tuned in for today, and I had set the intention early on this morning that I would see and perceive spirit clearly. Like I'd be able to hear them. And so this lady comes in and she's real sweet, but I can tell that there's a self-confident like energy about her that she doesn't have it. Like she wants to have it, but it's not there. As if somebody in her life had made her just feel inadequate. And like, so partway through the massage, she was like, hey, could you get me an extra blanket? I just lost like 80 pounds, and so I get cold really easily. And I was like, oh, there it is. That's why I was feeling that there's some kind of energy regarding her self-confidence and the way she perceives herself. And then she also told me that she had recently undergone like a surgery too. And so I was like, okay, that also makes sense. And so then after the massage, I was just kind of like, and I had told her before when I first saw her, I was like, I don't know, there was just a vibe, and she did have a really cool vibe. She had a really cool vibe. And so I was being 100% honest when I told her. I was like, you just have a really cool vibe about you. And I told her that right away. And so then after the massage, I kind of was like, I have a question for you. Are you sometimes like too much of a perfectionist? And she just kind of laughed at me and she was like, yeah, I can definitely be like that, sometimes. And I was like, and she was like, well, why do you ask? I said, well, because I'm just getting this energy that you put too much pressure on yourself. And I said, and I just hope that you know that you're beautiful. And so fortunately she like took that the right way, because you never know, like especially when you are practicing and you're not always right, because it happens, and you're like, okay, I feel like I want to say this, but is this right? And so then you say it, and sometimes they don't like relate to it, and you're like, oh crap, well now I look, first of all, ridiculous, and second, like I'm some sort of fraud. And then yeah, so it's just, but then when you do get it right, like today I got it right, and it feels so good because you're like, oh, I actually helped her, because when she came out, she was like, okay. I feel like I'm seeing orbs over here. Telling you guys, it's getting really weird. I probably sound like I'm losing my mind right now, but things have been weird in this house, and I swear I'm not on anything. Like, you can see my eyes, like my pupils. I swear to God, I'm not on anything right now. But when you open up your intentions to, like, wanting to experience it, you start experiencing it a lot more. And my spirit guide was not wrong when he said that there's not necessarily anything attached to the house, but that things come in and out. So, but anyway, back to my client story. So when she came out, she was just like, thank you so much. And she's like, can I give you a hug? I was like, heck yeah, you can give me a hug. That's totally cool. And so it's just, when you do get it right, it just feels good, because you know that you're giving them a message that maybe they needed to hear. And I felt like she just really needed to hear that message today, that she was good enough. And so that was just, it felt good. I was like, thanks, Spirit. Thanks for, letting me hear that clearly, because sometimes, like I said, my brain is a scattered mush. But I'm going to stop that here because I've been ranting way too long. And I think I'll just do a little bit of magic with my plant and some love energy. As always, be kind, stay curious, and always speak your truth. And I'll see you next time for another video. I'll probably show you a little bit of the magic here in a second here too. Bye. Alright, here's kind of my setup. I've been invoking this plant a lot for any of the workings that I've been doing, working with myself, which is what I've realized I've kind of needed to focus my magic on right now. It's just kind of healing and transforming myself. So I've got selenite, which obviously that's a self-charging crystal, as well as it, clears the energy in space really nicely. Rose quartz for, self-love and healing. This crystal, I cannot for the life of me remember what it is. It's an aura something, but I mainly based it on because I have been wanting to find a skull for a while, because it is great for working with like mind magic and stuff like that. So I'm using it for that, and honestly, this crystal like drew me to it, and it was like, you need to take me home. And I'm like, okay, fine. And I held it for the first time, and it's just, the energy is really, really like strong, like pulsing kind of energy. And then I have my angel light over here, obviously, because I want to connect with my higher guardians and beings, which apparently I need to state more clearly from now on, to make sure I don't get anything trying to come through that is not them. Rose, I love working with rose. Rose is probably one of my favorite, flowers, which is great for love. Jasmine, just to add a little bit of, to me, jasmine has such a like sensual kind of feel to it, as well as just maybe uplifting your mood and making you feel a little bit more kind of sexy and just feel good about yourself. This perfume I love. It's Moonlight Path. You can get it at Bath and Body Works, but this one I love just working with at night when I'm doing moon magic, when I'm working with dream stuff as well. I'll spray it on before bed. And I've been saying I wanted to work with Morpheus, and I have kind of an altar set up in my bedroom for him, but I honestly haven't really like truly reached out yet, which I'm sure he's probably like, well, do you want to work with me or do you not want to work with me? Like, decide. Juniper berries for protection, jasmine again, and then what did I grab? Butterfly pea, which my grandma gave me. And so, have some of that grandma love, and it's really good for love as well. She a couple weeks ago, she must have had a theme. She must have thought I needed some self-love and stuff, because she got me jasmine, she got me butterfly pea, and then she got me another herb. I can't remember which one it was, that was all about like love and stuff as well. So I'm like, okay, fine, grandma, I get your point. You're trying to tell me I need to, incorporate more love into my life. And then I'm going to be playing some self-love and healing, the 528 hertz and 417 hertz. Honestly, I don't know a ton about like the hertz and the energy and that kind of stuff. I just know peaceful music when I hear it. So I'm not gonna, try to explain that, but this is what we're gonna do here. So I've got mugwort right here, not mugwort, wormwood, because I don't have mugwort right now. But they act very similarly, so I'm going to do like a little wash on my mirror here. I already kind of cleaned it off and everything, but just do a wash for protection as well, because I'm hoping that then that will equate to anything the plant kind of represents me, so it'll hopefully protect me as well. So there we go. Spirits want lemon poppy seed muffins. They've been sticking that idea into my brain for, I feel like, a couple weeks now. So we're going to listen and we are going to make them some delicious poppy seed muffins, and we are going to share it on my ancestor altar over here in the kitchen. A lot of it is, or not a lot of it, but some of it is definitely designated to my Russian ancestors, and then of course my adopted ancestors as well. So we are going to make some poppy seed muffins.